That's strange. There's a cow to come out at the bottom of the video, which is never seen before. That's different. Anyway, ignoring that. Hello, how are you doing? Back again. It's Sunday afternoon, evening, really. I still struggling a little bit with my cold. I just can't seem to shift it. It's just tickling away, and just for some odd reason, it's just lingering on and on. But I wanted to get something recorded anyway. Slightly bit of a different video this time, I think. I wanted to how do you put it? I wanted to address a comment that I get quite regularly. Well, not regularly per se, but semi-regularly. Let's put it that way. It seems to crop up a lot on a lot of my videos, particularly my Septum videos, and I still get it from somewhat semi-regularly on my old excuse me. There you go. On my old Septum video. I think it was called something like My Stretch Septum. Pretty much the first video I ever actually recorded. And I mean, that video, it's over 10 years old now, and it still gets something like 4,000 views every single week. It's absolutely crazy. It's just mind-boggling to me why so many people want to watch that video. It's very peculiar. But anyway, yeah, so I get this particular question, or a couple of related questions, semi-regularly. I just wanted to actually address it and to give my thoughts and opinions on the matter. It's a question, well, let's say, sort of two questions that are quite well related. First of all, I get the question regarding the septum. I often get things like, that's huge, it must be the world record, or something like that. And the second question, for people that are slightly more clued up on it, are it's normally, that's huge, are you going to go for the world record, or something to that effect. And I just thought I would actually address that, just because it's such a common thing I get. I mean, I get it on here, I get it on Instagram, I get it on Facebook on the very odd occasion that I post anything on Facebook. It always is a question that always seems to pop up. First of all, no, my nose is not the biggest in the world. My septum is not the biggest in the world. I'm only aware of one other person who actually has a bigger nose than me. There was a chap long time ago in my old BME days. There was a chap who I used to speak to regularly on there who his nose was actually 28. Pure coincidence. Pure coincidence. But he actually shrunk his down, and I think his is now either 22 or 24 millimeters. But yeah, other than him, there's the biggest I'm aware of is, and I'm going to butcher his name, but I think it's pronounced something like Genia or something like that. Anyone who knows what I'm talking about knows what I'm talking about. He's a guy who lives in Russia. He's generally called the human platypus or something. That's just a nickname he's adopted because he has had big stretched lip plates in his top and bottom lip. And yeah, his septum is 34 millimeters, which obviously is quite a bit bigger than mine. And so no, obviously mine is clearly not the biggest. And I'm sure there are other people out there as well. I remember back in my old BME days, there were a couple of people with septum piercings over an inch, over the sort of 25, 26 millimeter mark. There were a couple of people then over an inch. There was one person in particular I remember, someone I never got a chance to speak to because he actually stopped using the website fairly soon after I joined it, which was a shame. But he had, at the time, he had a 1-inch septum. He had a 26 millimeter septum, and he said he wanted to try and stretch his to 1.5 inches, which is about 38 millimeters. Now, I don't know if he ever actually got there or not, because, like I say, he left the website and he stopped using the website. He was a computer engineer in America somewhere, and I don't know what his real name was. I've never been able to find anything else out about him. His profile is still on the BME community website, but yeah, no idea whatever happened to him, if he ever got to his goal, if he ever got any bigger than 1 inch, I don't know, but I'd be very curious to find out. But so the biggest that I am aware of, excuse me, is 34 millimeter, Genia's human platypus. And again, sorry if I'm butchering his name completely, but yeah. I know he had his septum at 34 millimeters for quite some time, because he took a different approach to me, which is it's a good way of doing it, because he made a lot of his own jewelry. So he would make jewelry out of Delrin and PTFE, but with incredibly thin walls. So he was able to fold up the jewelry, put it up his nose, unfold it, and unfold it inside the septum. So he didn't have to worry about trying to get large pieces of jewelry through his nostrils. And that's a much more sensible way of doing it in some ways. However, that of course very much limits the jewelry you can wear, because obviously the only jewelry you can wear going that route is stuff that can be folded up and squished up and then fit up there and opened inside your nose, which is that's not the route I want to go. When I finally reach a size where I'm 100% definite I want to stop, there's a couple of pieces of jewelry I'd like to get made for it. Just simple tunnels, nothing fancy, but a couple of pieces of jewelry, or a couple of different materials I would like. I've always wanted to have a, what do you call it? An obsidian tunnel. A big stone, well, not stone, volcanic glass technically, but a big obsidian tunnel. It's one of my favourite materials. I've had obsidian jewellery for all sorts of piercings over the years. I used to wear a lot of obsidian jewellery in my lobes when they were quite a bit smaller. And that's something, like I say, when I do finally reach a size where I decide to stop, I will get something made out of obsidian, a solid plug or a solid tunnel more likely. And obviously I can't do that if it's necessary for me to have something that I could fold up to fit through my nostrils. So that's why I haven't chosen to go that route. But yeah, it's a good way of doing it, and he's, to the best of my knowledge, he's the only person I've seen with a very large septum that has done that, and it's worked very well for him. As a clever little way of getting around the issue of actually being able to fit stuff up your nostrils. so yeah. But yeah, I say, as far as my opinions on the matter of going for like world records in septum or any piercings, it's just something that doesn't interest me. I've never really been in any way interested in trying to do something like that and trying to get my name, like, I don't know, in like the Guinness Book of Records or anything like that. It's just honestly never interested me. I do these things as part of my own personal journey and as a way of testing my personal limits, seeing how far I can take things, seeing how far I can push myself, and what, if anything, I can learn from it. And because the problem is when you say outright that you want to specifically chase a record, you're instantly competing with other people who either have bigger ears or who intend on having bigger ears themselves, or whatever. And that does not interest me at all. I say this has always been my personal journey, and I have never compared myself to anyone else in the piercing field, in the body modification field or community, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's never occurred to me to compare myself to other people in that way. If by pure chance I were to say stretch my nose or stretch my ears or my conchas or whatever to a point that appeared to be bigger than everybody else's, and it appeared to be the world record, so to speak, it wouldn't be because that's a goal I had set out. It would just be because that's where my path has taken me, and where my and where I have gotten to at that certain stage. I mean, I follow plenty of people on Instagram with much bigger ears than me, and I think it's absolutely incredible. I see it as inspiration. I look at it and I think, obviously, 5 and 6 inch ears can be achieved because people have now done that. I think I think on my Instagram alone, I follow, I want to say 5 or 6 people whose ears are over 5 inches, and 2 of them in particular are almost at the 6 inch mark. One of them, Hippo Ear, who everyone probably knows who's into this, I know he stopped stretching because he got to 150 millimeter, which is just a fraction shy of 6 inches, and he decided that was big enough for him and he stopped. And another chap who I would recommend people check out on Instagram if you're on Instagram and you haven't heard of him already. Must be, which is very surprising. Is a chap called Cody666. I think that's his name. Cody with a K. And his ears are now 5.5 inch or 5 3/4. I forget exactly. But he's someone, if you're interested in big ears and all that sort of stuff, he's someone that is well worth following, because he posts a lot, and he has, as well as his big ears, he has some other incredible modifications. So it's well worth checking him out if you're interested in insanely big piercings. And like I say, when I look at these people, and it's just incredible, and I find it inspiring, and it encourages me to stretch bigger, in the sense that I know it is possible to get a lot bigger. And when I say a lot bigger, I mean a lot bigger. 5.5 inches is a hell of a lot bigger than this. So it sort of puts it in my sights in a way. Like, I know it can be done, and yeah, I will probably try and get myself there someday. But if I don't get there, if I get to say 4 inches, and I think, right, you know what, that's enough. I like how that is. This is the end of my journey, and so be it. I'm never going to compare myself to anybody else in that way, where I say, right, that person's got so-and-so sized ears, or that person's got a so-and-so sized septum. I must beat that person, or something like that. It's just not in my nature to do, and it takes away from my let's say my journey and my path and my intentions behind these things. I do it as a way of pushing myself and seeing where my limits are and how far I can take things. And I think, for me at least, it's not to say for everyone. There's nothing wrong with someone trying to break a record or something like that. People do these things all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not something I have any interest in. It's just like I say, if I were at a pure chance to do something like that and to break some sort of record, it would never be intentional. It would just be, like I say, part of my path. So hopefully that answered that a little bit. And yeah, I have no doubt I will still get asked this all the time. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I admit I never replied to the comments on my really old videos. But maybe I can just link people to this video just to explain it a little bit and explain these things a little bit. Why I probably never will break a record, and why I have no intentions of trying to break records. And yeah, I think that might be beneficial to some people. Because so many people just seem to think that everything has to be a competition, and that's just not the way it is. Just enjoy what you're doing for the sake of what you're doing. Do it because it makes you happy, not because you're trying to prove something to the world, or because you're trying to get famous or something like that. It's just not the path I've chosen. It's just not something that's interesting to me or applicable to my personal way of life. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's that. And I do have one small bit of non-mod related news, which I'm really, really excited about. My girlfriend Anna, she told me yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that we are getting a new kitten. She's a friend of hers. I don't know if it's a friend of hers or just somebody she knows, but a friend or acquaintance of hers, their cat has had some kittens, and in about a month's time, 2 or 3 weeks, I think she said, the kittens will be old enough to they'll be weaned off and then moved into new homes, and one of the little kittens is ours, which I'm really excited about. And I've just been telling everybody. Apparently Anne had been trying to keep it a secret from me, and she had already told everybody, so everybody I know already knows. I was the last person to know. But yeah, apparently, so yeah, we'll be getting this new little kitten in probably 2 to 3 weeks' time. So that's some exciting news, and I will be introducing her. Yes, this is a body modification thing, but I can guarantee I'll be so excited I'll be introducing her on the screen. So yeah, that's something else to look forward to, something non-mod related to look forward to. That's good. So yeah, thank you for sticking with me through this video. I hope some people can learn something from it. And yeah, that's it. Ta-ra for now. Have a good day. Oh, one quick look at the nose. 28mm. Certainly not small, but certainly not the biggest. Have a good day, ta-ra, have fun, blah blah blah. See you later.